there is a parasite that can make mice less afraid of cats. Not dogs, not snakes, cats. Which is very convenient because cats are exactly where this parasite needs to go. The parasite is called Toxoplasma gondii, which sounds like a spell someone should not say twice in a basement, but it is real. It is common, and it has one of the strangest life cycles in nature. Here is the simple version. Toxoplasma can infect many warm-blooded animals: birds, rodents, livestock, humans. Basically, if you are warm and alive, Toxoplasma has at least considered the paperwork. But there is one place where it can complete the most important part of its life cycle: a cat. More specifically, the intestines of a cat. Cats are what scientists call the definitive host. That means the parasite can sexually reproduce there. That is the whole game. The parasite wants to get into a cat. The cat is not a side character. The cat is the destination. And that is where mice enter the story, against their better judgment. In the normal order of things, mice are afraid of cat odor. This is not a personality choice. This is survival. If you are a mouse and you smell cat urine, the correct response is not curiosity. It is leaving. Immediately, with feeling. But Toxoplasma appears to interfere with that fear. In infected rodents, studies have found something deeply strange. The mice may lose their natural aversion to cat odor. Some research even suggests they may become more willing to approach it, which is a bad day for the mouse, and an excellent career move for the parasite. Because if the mouse gets closer to the cat is more likely to eat the mouse. Then the parasite gets into the cat, then it can reproduce. Nature does not care if the plan is rude. It only cares if the plan works. Now, to be clear, the parasite is not sitting inside the mouse brain with a tiny steering wheel. It is not whispering, "Go toward the cat. He seems friendly." The real mechanism is more complicated. Researchers have found that Toxoplasma infection can affect brain areas involved in fear and attraction. It may alter how rodents process cat odor. It may affect chemicals in the brain, including systems related to dopamine, which helps with motivation, reward, and movement. The exact details are still being studied, but the outcome is the part that gets everyone's attention. A mouse that should avoid cat smell may stop treating that smell as danger. That is not just weird. That is strategically weird, because the behavior helps the parasite finish its life cycle. And once you understand that, the whole thing starts to feel less like random nature and more like a very small crime. The parasite gets into the wrong animal. Then it changes the odds. Not by growing claws, not by running faster, by nudging behavior. That is the part that unsettles people. Because behavior feels private. It feels like us. We like to think our choices come from our minds, our tastes, our values, our little internal committee that is somehow always debating dinner. But parasites do not need to fully control a host to matter. They only need to shift the odds. A little less fear, a little more risk, a slightly worse decision near a predator. That can be enough. And Toxoplasma is not the only organism that does this. Nature is full of parasites that alter host behavior. Some make insects climb higher before they die. Some make fish more visible to birds. Some make animals act in ways that help the parasite move to the next host. It is not mind control in the movie sense. It is not a parasite typing commands into the brain. It is biology leaning on behavior until the host becomes useful, which is somehow less dramatic and more disturbing. Now, this is where the human part comes in, because humans can get Toxoplasma too. People can become infected in several ways. One common route is eating undercooked meat that contains the parasite. Another is swallowing the parasite from contaminated soil, food, water, or surfaces. Cat feces can also play a role, especially when handling litter or soil where infected cats have shed the parasite. This is where people look nervously at their cat. Please do not blame the cat for everything. The cat is already doing enough emotionally. Most healthy people who get infected do not develop serious illness. Many never know they had it. But the parasite can be dangerous for people with weakened immune systems. It can also be serious during pregnancy, because infection can pass to a developing baby. So this is not just a weird fact. It is also a real public health issue. But the question that makes this story famous is not simply, can humans get Toxoplasma? The question is, can it change us? And the honest answer is careful. Maybe. But not in the clean, spooky way the internet prefers. Research has found associations between Toxoplasma infection and certain human traits or behaviors. Some studies have reported links with slower reaction times, personality differences, risk-taking, or changes in reward processing. Other studies do not find the same effects. And even when an association appears, association does not prove causation. That sentence is important. Association means two things show up together. Causation means one thing caused the other. Those are not the same. If people with umbrellas are often found near wet sidewalks, it does not mean umbrellas caused the rain. The umbrella had a rough day in court for no reason. So when we talk about toxoplasma in humans, we have to avoid the easy headline. It is not accurate to say a cat parasite controls people. That is too much. It is better to say this. Toxoplasma clearly changes certain behaviors in rodents. In humans, researchers have found some possible links to behavior, but the evidence is mixed, and the effects, if real, are probably subtle. Less horror movie, more uncomfortable footnote. Still, the idea stays with you, because even a subtle effect is strange when the subject is behavior. If a parasite can slightly shift fear in a mouse, could it slightly shift risk in a person? Could it influence reaction time? Could it affect how reward feels? Could it change a decision by 1%? And if millions of people are infected, what does 1% even mean? That is where the story becomes quietly unsettling. Not because every infected person is secretly being controlled by a parasite. They are not. But because the border between me and my biology gets blurrier than we like. Your mood is biology. Your hunger is biology. Your fear is biology. Your gut is biology. Your sleep is biology. Your brain is biology, wearing a very convincing name tag that says personality. So when a parasite enters that system, the question is not whether it turns someone into a puppet. The question is whether it can press lightly on the machinery. And biology loves light pressure. A little more dopamine here, a little less fear there, a slightly different response to smell, a tiny change in risk. Small changes can matter when the right predator is nearby. For a mouse, that predator is a cat. For humans, the story is not that simple. We do not usually get eaten by cats. Most cats are busy knocking things off counters and pretending they did not. So even if toxoplasma affects human behavior, it may not have a clear purpose in us. Humans may be accidental hosts, a place the parasite can survive, but not a place where the life cycle reaches its goal. That may be the strangest part. In mice, the behavior change makes a kind of dark sense. Mouse approaches cat. Cat eats mouse. Parasite wins. In humans, if behavior changes happen, they may be leftover effects from a system that was never designed for us. We may just be carrying the side effects of someone else's nightmare, the mouse's nightmare, specifically. And that is what makes Toxoplasma such a perfect, weirdly sketchy story. The proven part is already strange. A parasite that needs cats appears to make rodents less afraid of cats. That is enough. The debated part is what makes it linger. Humans can carry the same parasite. Some research suggests possible behavioral links. Other research says slow down, the evidence is not settled. So the truth sits in an uncomfortable middle. Not fake, not fully proven, not mind control, not nothing. Just a parasite with a cat-shaped destination and a history of making fear less reliable. And maybe that is the real lesson. We like to think behavior begins and ends inside the self, but nature is full of tiny things pushing larger things around. Viruses, bacteria, hormones, sleep, hunger, parasites. The world gets into us. And sometimes, very quietly, it changes how we move through it. So the next time a mouse walks toward a cat, it may not be bravery. It may not be confusion. It may be a parasite finishing a plan older than civilization. And the next time you hear that Toxoplasma controls humans, be skeptical, but not dismissive. The rodent story is real. The human story is still being argued over. And somewhere in the middle is a very small parasite with very large ambition. It does not need claws. It does not need teeth. It just needs the mouse to make one bad decision. Weirdly true. Weirdly sketchy.